Hi guys.
Hi.
They promised me 300 people. I still can see them. So guys, if you can hear me and you're drinking your coffee, please join us here. It's going to be fun. So, I'm really glad to see all of you here. It's my first time in Moldova. Maybe that's why I'm excited and embarrassed at the same time, because I don't know the language and I can barely see you. But still, I really like the time that I'm having here. I'm here to speak about agility, about Agile, and how to build the right thing and execute faster than your competition. Let me quickly introduce myself, and then we'll get it going. So, yes, I built a career in IT. It resulted by a prestigious industry award like Best Project Manager of Ukraine or something like that. And at that moment, I realized that I better like teaching people, sharing my knowledge and experience, and rather than directly managing teams. And my next position, current position, is an Agile coach and partner at Scrum Guides. Scrum Guides is a small niche, I would say, Agile consultancy firm in Ukraine. We serve large clients. We help them actually improve. How? By actually teaching them the new ways of working that Agile implies, and by coaching them. Also, I teach business agility in the largest business school in Ukraine, Kyiv-Mohyla Business School. My students there are like MBA students, business owners, top executives, etc. When I was going here, frankly, I must confess, I planned to reuse one of my presentations that I'm frequently giving in Ukraine and abroad. But 3 days before coming here, I asked Yelena, are you here? I want to thank you for a warm welcome. It's really great to be a part of this event. So I asked Lena, do you think your audience knows what Agile is, or I have to explain everything? She said, I'm afraid you have to explain everything. Okay, then my current presentation don't work. I have to remake it from scratch. So I remade it, and still I would like to know, what do you know about Agile? So help me understand. If you heard anything about the word Agile, maybe about the popular frameworks like Scrum and Kanban, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 people. Okay, that's great. I came to spread the word then. All right, so what is Agile? Roughly, Agile is an approach to building products or projects that ensures that you're building the right thing and you're doing it faster and more efficiently than your competition. But before I begin explaining, let me show you how it emerged. Agile appeared actually in IT like 20, 30 years ago to solve two common problems. First was, we're not sure we're building the right thing. And second was, we're not sure that we are running fast enough. So let's start with the first problem, build the right thing. There's an organization called Standish Group, and they frequently release their so-called chaos report. It's a report about the state of project management in the world, and nothing can better illustrate the thing, build the right thing, rather than this graph. So it shows the percentage of software features used by the consumers, right? So imagine a Microsoft Word. I assume all of you know Microsoft Word. You use it heavily, right? So there's a number of features, namely 20%, that you are using heavily. Like type text, change the colors, change the font. That's something that you typically use. There are features that are rarely used, like, I don't know, header and footer or page numbering that you're inserting or not. But there's good amount of features, like 50% of features that are most likely never used by clients. Like, say, macros or Visual Basic for applications. You heard? These are features of Microsoft Word that you are not even aware of. But some time ago, some product manager in Microsoft decided that we're going to build the thing. We're going to invest into it. And they invested resources, and teams kind of build this. They integrated this with the rest of the application. They are supporting this, but users are not using, which means we could have built better product with less features, and it would be kind of better serve our clients' needs. But they didn't. Another problem is how to ensure that we are running fast enough, right? Every typical business owner wants to make sure that his teams or her teams are running fast enough, like better, faster, quicker, right? And how do they usually achieve this fast pace? Well, let's be honest, I've been in the shoes of the managers. They put pressure on people, right? Guys, we have a deadline, we're not on time, just do it, we have to work overtime, etc., right? You met it a couple of times, I guess. So what's the problem with this approach? Can people actually be efficient under pressure? Well, they can, but not for a very long period, right? Because it's so difficult to be efficient when someone put the gun to your head, like this guy, right? You can't see the gun, but I'm sure it is there. Even maybe not a physical gun, but this guy totally feels a couple of guns near his head. And I'm not sure that he's pretty efficient. And, you know, people are the kind of the creatures that tend to burn out when you put the gun to their head. Because they're not machines, they're not robots, right? And this is connected to one of the principles of Agile. So, IT industry struggled for a couple of dozens of years before they invented Agile. They took the processes for software development, they took the processes from mass production. They took the management style from mass production, which was so-called command and control. So the managers were just commanding, just do this, this, and that, and I know better than you, and if you don't do this, you will be punished. Similar? So this resulted in the products that are not very much used by the end users. This resulted with the teams that are burning out at the work and they are afraid to speak up. They don't have psychological safety that brings enjoyment in work, that brings engagement, right? Sometimes these kinds of managers come to us, to Scrum guides, and tell, I think we have a problem. Tell me more, I say. And they say, my problem is my people. Yuri, please do something to my people. They're not motivated, they're not engaged, they don't work well enough, they don't count money. Do something to them, right? So there's a lot of such managers still on the planet, so which means I will have plenty of work to do in the next coming years. That's good. So what is Agile Manifesto? In 2001, 17 thought leaders from the IT industry, which were like IT architects, experienced project managers, they came together in the ski resort in Utah, United States, and confessed between each other, like, guys, let's be honest, our previous way of working is not delivering results. We're not efficient, 100% of IT projects are failing. So we have invented some ways of working like Scrum or Kanban, but we have to release them to the world. We see that they are working, and we will see on the next slide what Scrum is, right? But we have to popularize them because we see how they're serving well in our project. Maybe the rest of the world would find it useful as well. So what they came up with this manifesto that was originally called the Manifesto for Agile Software Development, but more and more clients from traditional businesses, I would say, find it useful, because last year most of my clients are from FMCG, media, marketing, digital, etc., not IT. So what is Agile Manifesto? Is a set of 4 values that are describing this sort of healthy way of working. And the first of them is individuals and interactions over processes and tools. When we say over, we mean that people and how do they work, how do they interact is more important than the processes and tools that you gave them. Because what is process? Process is something that should help people, not to stand in their way of doing work. Next value is working product over comprehensive documentation, which means you might have great documentation, great presentation of your product, but if your product is not working for your clients, your documentation is useless, right? Remember the times when you have to spend 50% on the actual project work and 50% on just presenting it to stakeholders on different levels in your company, right? Customer collaboration over contract negotiation, which means you better invest time in building relationships with your client, like speaking to him in a human language, not with the language of contract that your lawyers somehow written out and you signed it, right? Because the day you finger point your customer into the contract, he will find a way to overcome it. But the next day he will point a finger at you and show you the contract, right? And we do not want to serve our customers by the language of the contract, but rather by normal relationships, right? And the fourth principle is responding to change over following a plan. I had a client that came to me and showed me kind of sheet of paper with a project plan for the whole year, for the whole number of projects for his team, and he said, well, I have a plan and it's not working. What I'm doing wrong? So I took a look at this beautifully designed Excel spreadsheet with colors, with graphs, with Gantt chart, and this paper was kind of all fixed by handwriting, but pencil, and it contained a lot of corrections on the way. It was February, and they initiated this plan the 1st of January. And 1 month has passed, business landscape has changed, some new projects emerged, some projects became useless, and the plan is no longer relevant, right? But the whole team has a KPIs set to their individual metrics, and they are not relevant even 1 month after the plan was created. So Agile says that planning is important. You have to have the roadmap, you have to have a vision where you're going, but don't try to plan everything very precisely, because things are typically changing. This manifesto is available at agilemanifesto.org if you're interested to learn more about 12 underlying principles, etc., but we're not going there, right? What I want to show is the video about Scrum. So what's wrong with the Agile philosophy? You cannot work using just a philosophy. You need some working methods, right? So Scrum is the most popular working method in Agile philosophy, and I encourage you to watch this 1-minute video, because no one can explain better what Scrum is in 1 minute than this video. And I wish we had a voice here. Can we try once again?
Complex projects can lead to real headaches. Organizing the team, changes in scope, roles that aren't clear. But you can change that with Scrum, an agile framework. At its foundation, Scrum can be applied to any project or product development effort. Here's how it works. A product owner creates the product backlog, a prioritized wish list. During sprint planning, the team pulls a chunk from the top of that list and decides how to complete it. The team has a set time frame, the sprint, to complete their work. They meet in a daily scrum to keep the work moving forward. Along the way, the Scrum Master keeps the team focused. At the end of the sprint, the work should be potentially shippable. The team conducts a sprint review on the product and a retrospective on the process. Then, they choose the next chunk of the backlog, and the cycle repeats. With Scrum, you can ensure the most valuable work has been completed by the time the project ends. Tackle your projects with Scrum.
Thank you for your attention. It's not the end of the presentation. Don't go. We have, I think, 10 minutes more. I hope so. 5? That's not good. Okay, let's speed up. So, of course, I cannot. Typically, it takes me 2 days to explain Scrum in detail, but you got the idea. That short iterations, like one week or 2 weeks, and that's it, right? But I want to emphasize on another aspect, right? Is what do qualified workers expect from their leaders today, and how Scrum can actually help with this? So, first thing is alignment. What you can see on the picture is actually misalignment. When part of the team is building a bridge and part of the team is digging a tunnel. Looking at the picture, I can see that they most likely used their budget already, but they are not solving the customer problem to get across the river. And you can see that every part of the team was solving the problem, but in different ways, right? How often we see in our businesses situations like this, right? So how does Scrum solve this is with transparency. There is a saying that Scrum is like your wife's mother-in-law, right? She quickly finds what's wrong with you, right? So the same as with Scrum. He quickly makes all the problems transparent for everyone, right? What you can see is a Scrum board, like to do in progress done, that shows the project's progress for a marketing team of a multiplex cinema chain. It's the largest cinema chain in Ukraine. They use Scrum and they find it very beneficial for their efficiency, for team engagement, etc. Right? It's so great when the whole team member, every team member sees how things are doing, not only with his personal task, but with their tasks of a team as a whole, right? The same with every stakeholder. Next management challenge is collaboration of people. I took this picture during the obstacle race in Ukraine. It's called Race Nation. You have to run 5 kilometers with 20 obstacles like this one. And I was impressed how teams are actually tackling those obstacles together. And my next question, I thought about leadership, about team self-organization. I thought, why the hell in the business teams are so rarely doing like this? What is the typical situation? Everyone is crossing this wall by his own and trying to accomplish to the finish line as fast as possible, not thinking about the rest of the team. But the speed of the team is defined by its slowest member, not the fastest, right? So how does actually Scrum help solve this? By daily stand-ups. It's a meeting, daily meeting, like 15 minutes, standing up near a Scrum board and discussing the progress, who's doing what. And the magic that happens is a peer pressure. So you as a leader don't have to put pressure on your team. They do it on their own. And the peer pressure is much more stronger than the pressure of a leader, right? Third, but not last, is customer focus. So many businesses claim to be customer-centered, etc., and blah, 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 blah. How it is achieved in reality? How do we make sure that in every given sprint, I mean every given week, we are doing the most essential things that our customers want today? Not a year ago, but today. So with Scrum, this is fixed by value-focused iterative. Whatever complicated it sounds, let me explain it, right? So on a picture above, you can see that customer is not happy during 3 iterations. Only in the 4th iteration, he receives what he wanted, a faster way to commute. While on the image below, you can see that he actually receives, he starts being happier even on the 2nd iteration. He's got a skate and he kind of solves his problem partially right now, not in the 4th iteration. So Scrum is the way to make your customers happy faster. 2 minutes left, I think we are on time. I'm often asked about the results. Usually skeptics are saying so, like, where do you have any successful cases when Scrum helped the businesses? And does Scrum really help your teams doing twice the work in half the time, as the book says? So my question is my answer is the following. Simply faster is not a solution. The teams that I train, they find that it's better to walk in a normal pace, but in the right direction, rather than to run faster, but in the wrong direction. Or run fast, but every team member in different directions, like лебедь, рак и щука, you know? So, results, as I grabbed them from one of the teams in a large FMCG international company that are my clients in Kiev. By the way, what you can see is the office of 2 brand managers. You see 2 notebooks, and the walls are all with the Scrum boards of their teams. So everything is transparent. They know how fast the stories, the tasks are get to done. So the results that they claim they received. We have now clear responsibilities, finally, for individuals and teams. We're running in the same direction as a team, and we're not stepping on each other's toes, right? Which is really important. We stop doing unnecessary work, because it might often appear when you don't have your work visualized either on the wall or in some online collaboration tool. It might turn out that, oh, guy, you were doing this project, I was doing it as well. You were digging a tunnel, I was building a bridge. WTF, right? So we're not doing this anymore because everything is transparent. The teams are welcoming changes. What happens if you have a long established plan for the whole year and every team member knows that he has to complete these 6 little projects during the year, and if he don't, he will not receive his bonus, right? These kind of individuals are not welcoming changes because I committed to this amount of work on the beginning of the year, and what you as a manager are giving me on top is something that is not reflected on my performance, on my financial rewards, right? In Scrum, teams are welcoming changes. That's okay to change the plan every sprint. Scrum is designed specifically for that because changes happen, market landscape changes all the time, right? As a result, people feel like they understand the purpose of their work, and this is one of the most important factors. Yeah, thank you. 1 minute and we're finishing. Business and product owners enjoy now predictable delivery. They surely know what they will receive in the end of sprint, and as a result, products' time to market increased. You can start right now by reading these 2 books, at least. First is scrumguides.org. It's a Bible of Scrum, where, like, in simple words, Scrum is explained how to do it. Another is kind of a business narrative by the Scrum author, Jeff Sutherland. It contains a lot of real-life user stories, how Scrum helped in different industries, and that's it. I think we don't have time for questions, so I thank you for your attention. You can find me in the hall and take my business card, or we can exchange them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. We still have time for one question. I think we'll provide it. Guys, who have a question? Whoa. Okay, I found it.
Hi, thank you for the great presentation. I have a quick question. What's your favorite tool, online tool, especially for teams that have team members in different countries?
Wall with stickers. Let me explain. My favorite tool for myself is Trello.com. Yeah, it's great. It's on every device. But when you speak about teams starting doing Scrum, you should not start with the tool. Tool, you know, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Why sticker with walls is more important? Because it's more visible. And when every team member walks into the room and he sees his task there on the wall, not in someone else's computer where people are, so kind of, you know, online tools is sort of a blocker on the way between a person and a task. So try to do it with the wall and stickers, and you will not get to the online tool anymore. Unless, of course, you have a distributed team in different regions. That's another story. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuriy. Let's make some noise.